we'll have a stronger message for the people. Yeah. Our recruiting will be more direct. In fact, okay, we'll put this in our first package, and then we'll put the one we're going to do Thursday, in another package. And we'll write a flyer. This is not spontaneous, but it's kind of, we'll write a flyer. That flyer will pass out this Friday. And yeah, we'll pass it out this Friday with maybe this or one of the past DVDs in that package. Like we did before, we put a flyer. Yeah. So the thing that we'll write up tonight and in the morning will be the flyer, would be the center thing. And the CD, DVD would be, yeah, filler. Okay, so we got that. Let's just make a little note there, DVD. Okay, relativity standards. New standards of wealth and happiness. Example, it's clear to see that the people are wealthy and not happy. And the people that are not wealthy are definitely not happy because they're paying too many bills and they got too much stress going on. You know what I mean? And people have standards of beauty. Almost the more beautiful people are, the less happier they are. Something is going on. Something is, right? All kind of crackpotish things are happening because they've been told that since I am beautiful, I should be more da-da-da-da-da, and that ain't happening because nobody added anything else with it. They broke everything. As time went on, it broke down to the physical thing. You know what I mean? More in the physical. Bodybuilding has become, from in my time, bodybuilding was to develop a nice, beautiful, body. And now it's grotesque. It's grotesque. That's what it was. And to me, it was grotesque over 20 years ago. I would say 30 years ago, it was already grotesque because on the bicep, people was getting boop and one on top of that. And now they got boop, boop, and one on 3 knots. It used to be 1 knot, right? It's beyond, but that's because they're judging on physical only. So whatever it is physically, you have to outdo that the next go round. And there's no limit to what you can do with that thing. I mean, they got people, when I was lifting iron really long time ago, Leroy Colborn got the first 20-inch arm. You got to remember, Hercules, Steve Reeves, and all of those, he didn't have but a 19. But he had a nice proportion. It was human. You know what I mean? It was more in the 50s and the 60s. Yeah, it was more human. But by the time you get to Sergio Oliva, and you ever seen Sergio Oliva? That boy was cut. Of course, I don't want to argue with them. They stole it and gave it to Arnold, but I mean, it's okay. That's their award. But By that time, they was leaving the ground for health and bodybuilding. They moving into beyond relativity, beyond, you know what I mean? Like there's no purpose for that. There's no you can't do nothing with it. It's non-functional. It don't do nothing. You know, it don't do nothing, and that's the point. It's a lot of it there, but it don't produce anything. It don't do anything. And that's why we're calling this relativity standards. I'm going to try to make sense. Just hold on a minute. The same thing about wealth. At a certain period, wealth, you feel better about things. But once you go to another level, it loses its perspective. So if you want to be, I'll be happy if I get $1 million. Well, nowadays $1 million is not a whole lot of money. But if you just say, I want to have $1 million cash, which definitely ain't a whole lot of money, you would say, this is my goal, have $1 million cash, plus all other stuff that I have I want. And that might make you relatively, you might be kind of happy, especially if you're young and you juiced up about what you're doing, you know. But then a guy comes along and he has $10 million. So you got to get $100 million so you'll be happy. Okay, up in that arena, it loses, there's, when you get to so many millions, there's nothing you can do with it anymore. Except oppression. You know, you can't do anything at that point. You can consolidate businesses and you can gain more power over people. The more power you gain over them, the less power you'll have. The guy making $1 zillion and they working, he got them working. It's worse than slave labor because the boss man can't have the overseer there all the time when you're picking cotton, right? So soon as he turned his head, it's just like in the penitentiary and the boss man is there, we all working. The boss man take coffee break, go walk somewhere else. We take a breather, leaning all on the hole or what have you. Soon as he come back, we just working. We haven't went nowhere. We're the same place we was when he left. And he got enough sense to know that. But I'm saying is, now they got cameras and they can watch the people and they got to work. Can you imagine? I don't know if y'all wouldn't remember this old movie from the 20s. Charlie Chaplin, he made a silent movie about machines. Okay, yeah. What was it called? Yeah, but it was a machine. It was off of like working at Ford or somewhere. Okay, well now they done got it 10 times that, because at least they had brakes in those days. Can you imagine now the guy's got a camera on you and you can't even, and the stuff don't break down. You know what I mean? They used to have to slow down the line, the big line with all the cars on it. They slow it down. We just got a fender got caught in there. And once you got the game, you would know how to slide a fender in there sideways, just to stop the line for about 10 minutes to have a cigarette break, a coffee break, right? And that's, but not nowadays, you can't do none of that. Can you imagine that the more money these people got, and think about the blessings of a disease, airborne disease or something, and they get triple, quadruple rich off that period. And instead of people going out to eat, they all ordering on the thing, and so the Amazon people they gonna make $1 billion, and the poor other people with restaurants go broke. it's harm all the way around because the people, instead of going out to eat dinner, they push a button and call and have it dropped off at the house. Now the deliverer get plenty of exercise driving around, but the people in the house just get fatter and fatter and fatter. Why? Hell, they don't go outside. And then they watch, you see what I mean? One disease adds to the next. So now you don't have to go out to the movie. You just get it, order it all on net. What do? Order it. And all the things that were messing people up, staying home, feeling sad, no friends, no connection, it adds on one thing. Whatever happens, it adds on. It looks like it's fine, but it ain't fine. It's adding on to the next one. So you don't get up and get around. Great. You just sit there and you order it from the whatever eating place, right? And they drive it by and drop it off. And you just sit at home, eat. And the Netflix, who's going to go to a movie when you can tell them, hey, add this on? I'm telling you, the stuff, the acceleration or relativity standards, what was relative 10 years ago is not relative now. What was relative 30 years ago is definitely not relative now. When I was coming, by the time in the 60s, I was grown then, though. They had a movie, Mad, Mad World, that the world was crazy then. I didn't see it, but I heard about it. And there was another saying the white kids had, stop the world, I want to get off. Stop this thing. 1,037 and 1/3 miles per hour, stop it, I want to get off. Can you imagine what they would be saying now? Unbelievable. So this thing about relativity, we're going to take the relativity part to say that we slow it down. So we're preaching the gospel of fix it. Fix it or F it, you know. Excuse my language. You know what F stands for. New standard of wealth and happiness. If happiness is like, okay, I'm going to have to use myself for example. Like, the older I get, the happier I'm becoming. In fact, I have never been this happy in my life, not even close. I mean, well, no, the closer I get to here, the happier. And I remember when I was just the biggest Negro in the world, well, in that area, same thing. I remember in 1970, I had 2 days out of the whole year that's kind of like the ones I have now all the time. 2 days. I remember because it was 2 days, but I was wealthy. Everybody liked me. I was like, all the stuff I was doing, it was working. East Oakland Enterprises, I would say 70 because that was big. 68, 69, by 70, boy, look at here. It was big. But it would be almost like all these rich people that have all that money and they're not happy. And I was trying to figure it out. I said, well, doggone, this kind of got me tripped up here. I got everything I want and everything everybody else wants. And, hey, I did something nobody does, none of the people I watch. I just stopped and said, hey, I'm going to do something. If I'm not enjoying it, I looked at a picture And I said, this guy here, and turned from the nicest guy in town. I looked at that, I said, that's some mean nigga there. You know, you could see it in your face. I said, that is one mean nigga there, boy, look at here. Luckily, nothing ever happened, so I didn't have a chance to do anything to anybody. But imagine with a super organization, and all of them as dummies. They wasn't dummies, but they wanted to show their muscle. You know, we're the toughest organization in our region, and we can do this. And I asked for a partner a couple of years ago. I said, you know, we never even beat nobody up. So yeah, but we sure was ready. In other words, they would have loved to, with their mentality, to show their muscle, not kindness. They thought that was, you know, who wants to be kind with all this power? Like I say, they were nice, but they wasn't brilliant. They